من وش؟
Bullied me in high school. My dad passed away when I was only 1. What is the most messed up thing your parents have done to you? My mom kicked me out 2 years ago in favor of her boyfriend who bullied me in high school. My dad
all over her body, her legs, her back. Surgeons, what patient came in such a horrific state? You hoped they would die? A teenage girl was taking a nap at home one afternoon. As she slept, a reckless driver crashed into her house. Her father, who would...
My coworker looks at my grin. What is the most satisfying way a prank has backfired on the prankster? I absolutely love people who pay with pennies. Seriously. 4 years ago, I was cashiering at a Walmart on a register that holds all the smokes and alcohol. It's 10 p.m. and these 2 men in their early 20s come up to the counter. They had 3 very random items which struck me as it was strange and unusual to get odd items this late at night. Maybe it was for some fraternity, I don't know. It's a college town, so I get weird stuff from friends a lot. I scan the items and tell them their total is $22.20. Grinning at each other, they reach into their jackets and slam down 2 massive Ziploc bags, full of only pennies. I stared them in the eye, but they didn't even look back at me. Everyone else in line groaned and went to other registers. These 2 kids knew what they were doing, but they didn't know what they were in for because I prepared for this. I knew this was going to inevitably happen. I agreed with them, because I was going to get paid during this. These pranksters registers are here for recreation. I asked, is this $22.20? No response. Did you at least count it? The more talkative one of the two just responds with no. I ask, are you going to? No. Is it at least $22.20? I don't know. Nice. My coworker chips in, saying, hey, you guys can use the self-checkout. It can take all of your coins at once. The man just replies with nope. Don't trust them. Lady, it doesn't count all your change right. My coworker kept trying to convince him, but to no avail. I eventually just told her I got this. I unpacked the Ziplocs and threw all the pennies on the counter. It was a beautiful, massive storm of a mess. I dug straight into it. The two men, still averting my gaze, started chuckling as if they were taking away my dignity. They whispered to each other, dude, oh my god. Dude, yeah. Dude, hilarious. I counted each penny, one by one. My coworker comes up to me. Guess I'll help you count this. We worked up a system.
Hey guys, this is Stuart.
Where we counted 10, put them in a pile, and then with 10 stacks of 10 pennies we separated them, making $1 piles. We made progress slowly but surely. Some customers came to the line, but we advised them to get to another line. Some of them looked at us confused, but when they saw the counter full of pennies they understood. Some decided to wait, but when they realized it wasn't going to take just a few minutes they took their leave. Another register in the liquor department opened, so it wasn't too bad for other customers. We get to about $12 after about 10 minutes, until I accidentally knocked over the piles. Oops. Sorry, I said to the two men, what is the most satisfying way a prank has backfired on the prankster? My coworker looks at my grin. I give her a wink and tilt my head, motioning her to leave. You know what, I think I better let you do this. She says as she's leaving. I look at the two guys. They are absolutely stunned at the fallen piles of pennies. Yeah, I'm going to have to count all of this again. I started from zero. I counted slower than ever and made my way back up. The duo is entirely silent. I get to about $7 when suddenly I say, Trance. I lost count. I better start all over again. Really? Why? One of them mustered up the courage to say, I lost count, sir. I could be in trouble if my register doesn't have the right amount of cash, and I don't want to rip you off. They were silent. It's about an hour later. My manager walks past and looks at me. I smile at him, and he looks at the counter. He walks away without a word. I eventually counted all the change, and surprisingly they had only $19. I think that this is $19. The duo has been dead silent. They look done for the night. Without a word, the ringleader whips out a $5 bill. I say, seriously? You had cash? I needed to get rid of my change. He replies with a grin. Okay. I say, no problem. I'll just recount this again. I want to make sure that this is $19 since I counted $18 the first time. Are you kidding me? I shake my head no, completely serious. He takes out a $20 bill straight out of his pocket and throws it at me. My coworker gives me the biggest with the F face. Internally, I die as well, because they were smart enough to have a backup plan. And the fact that he was touching his cash in his pocket the entire time kind of messed with me. I took the cash, did the transaction, gave him his change, thanked him, and wished him a good night. The two started to put their pennies back in the Ziploc bags and I didn't help them at all. I watched them just as they watched me. Lots of pennies dropped to the floor, but they didn't care to pick them up. It looked like their souls were sucked out of them. It was past midnight and I clocked out way past when I was supposed to. A lot of my coworkers gave me a thumbs up or told me good night. Even my manager told me good job, the only two words he ever said to me. Went to bed at the dorms after such a great penny night and crashed. Strange to say, but I'd love to count pennies again. My coworker looks at my grin. I give her a wink and tilt my head, motioning her to leave. You know what, I think I better let you do this. She says as she's leaving. I look at the two guys. They are absolutely stunned at the fallen piles of pennies. Yeah, I'm going to have to count all of this again. I started from zero. I counted slower than ever and made my way back up. The duo is entirely silent. I get to about $7 when suddenly I say, Trance. I lost count. I better start all over again. Really? Why? One of them mustered up the courage to say, I lost count, sir. I could be in trouble if my register doesn't have the right amount of cash, and I don't want to rip you off. They were silent. It's about an hour later. My manager walks past and looks at me. I smile at him, and he looks at the counter. He walks away without a word. I eventually counted all the change and surprisingly they had only $19. I think that this is $19. The duo has been dead silent. They look done for the night. Without a word, the ringleader whips out a $5 bill. I say, seriously? You had cash? I needed to get rid of my change. He replies with a grin. Okay. I say, no problem. I'll just recount this again.
Surgeons, what patient?
What is the most, when I was finally served, what is the most disrespectful experience you've ever had as a guest? In total, what is the most heinous, unspeakable crime you have committed in public? What insane college experience made you realize that school isn't for you? I lost my Vichy lip. I asked her if she knew anything. Gamers, what did you do when your private party chat leaked? I cried myself to sleep for 5 nights and maybe, what's the biggest invasion of privacy you've ever faced? Several summers, some friends, and I rented a beach house for the summer. Technically, it was half a house in that there were 2 entirely separate homes touching one another, with 2 kitchens, 2 of everything. They were connected only by a single door on the 2nd floor, which allowed the landlord to make it a single really big house for all his guests during the off-season. In season, he'd isolate the living spaces into one 4-bedroom house and one connected 5-bedroom house, which we had rented for ourselves and our guests, some of whom contributed to our cost. Not being entirely stupid, we asked that a lock be installed on our side of the connecting door, to which he agreed. We and our guests got settled and spent several fun days on the beach, making dinners together and enjoying perhaps a bit too much wine. We were also mindful of the fact that the houses shared a common wall, so we kept the general noise and music low. But, on the whole, that first week was great. And then something unusual happened. One morning, one of our guests said she sensed something in her bedroom in the middle of the night. He shook his head. What initially harmless, small light quickly spiraled out of control. My girlfriend and I used to buy milk at the
But she's older siblings. What's the sweetest thing you did for a younger sibling that they'll never know about? So my family usually opens presents on Christmas morning around 8 a.m., but due to my mother working this year, we had to start at 6:30. Now, my brother and I are of age and old enough to understand the Santa process. However, we have a younger sister, Katie, who still fully believes. She did the list, put out the cookies, and so on. The main thing.
Train unique. train unique طلع لي واو